how to properly accelerate an EUC, or what I call the Yeuk, the Y-E-U-K, all right? Not Y-O-O-K, Y-E-U-K, it's the Yeuk, okay? All right, so the first thing you have to do is a vehicle check. You wanna make sure that everything is at least in the optimum setting before you can go ahead and start accelerating your EUC like mad. So the first thing is enable the battery is at optimum levels for your weight. As you can see right here, I have 4 bars and I weigh 175 pounds without gear. With gear, probably 84, 85 maybe. I don't wear much gear. So for me, this is ideal. So I know for sure I won't be overpowering this machine in any way regarding my weight, okay, where my weight is concerned. Also the temperature and the environment. So right now it feels like a cool 74. Know what your environment is, know where you're riding. We know that the colder it is, the more sag your battery is going to have, depending on what battery you have. Okay, so one of my weaknesses is not knowing the exact specs of my battery relative to the temperature around it, okay? So I know I have a battery, but I don't really know the specs, I don't know the manufacturer, I don't know anything. I get on wheels and I ride. But it is important to know how much sag your battery encounters given the temperature, because that's going to determine how hard you can push your machine at any given time. Okay, so we're still on vehicle check here. So that was A. B is to check the pedal angle adjustment. So for example, I like my pedals to be angled if I'm competing. Otherwise, for a day-to-day riding, I ensure there is good grip, proper shoes, etc. So the type of shoe I wear is pretty much this, with kind of thick soles, but I'm more of a boot type of guy, and I like my lace to be really tight. I don't really like movement in my shoe. So C, vehicle mode. So there's soft, medium, and hard, as you all know. And obviously with newer firmware updates, you can have race mode, off-roading mode, etc. But we're just gonna focus on the hard, medium, and soft. So for those modes, we all know that they're very different depending on what you're doing, especially in competition. So it's important to have the right setting. Fortunately, with the new Bigode wheels, all it takes is a quick glance. As you can see right here, I'm on number 2, which is medium, in order for you to tell what mode you're in. But if you're in competition and you're at the line, there's not much time to figure out what you need to do. You know what I mean? So you have to at least have your wheel ready to go at that point. Every rider is different, but personally, I like to be in either medium or hard mode for drags, or in the case of a circuit, hard mode to get that initial edge over the competition. Another thing is to check the wheel's angle calibration, not the tire, but the machine itself. You know, see what calibration you're at. Is it leveled? Is it forward? Is it backwards? I tend to angle the vehicle a little bit backwards, 2 to 3 degrees, which helps with feedback from the vehicle in case of cutouts. So I like to know exactly what's happening at every instance so that I can kind of like pull myself back if that ever happens. Some cases you can't protect yourself from that, but at least it's good to have some type of predetermined setting so that in case you go over it, you'll know, whoa, I'm in the red zone. However, if you're at the proper weight for your machine and your battery levels are good, forward tilt is probably more beneficial since there's less effort in getting the angle off center, because that's what gets the wheel moving, right? The moment you get off center, the wheel starts accelerating forward. The quicker you can do that, the more of an advantage you have of someone who doesn't know how to do that properly. All right, so that was vehicle check. Number 2 is confidence in your vehicle. So for proper takeoff, it's important to have absolute confidence in yourself, but also in your vehicle. That confidence is going to come from miles and miles of riding in various scenarios, all right? So confidence can also be increased by riding in less than ideal situations such as low battery, cold weather, heavy traffic, circuit training, and even crashing or near crashes. So by getting an overall understanding of your machine, you've effectively taken most of the guesswork and shed light on the unknowns that would otherwise cause doubt about the wheel. So overall, confidence equates to knowing your wheel really, really well in various conditions. And finally, practice taking off from 0 miles per hour to rolling starts, etc. Practice accelerating out of a turn. Practice accelerating while at a high rate of speed to know how much more the wheel is able to take. So for example, if you're already at a speed of 40 miles an hour on a wheel that can achieve 50, how much more torquing will that machine allow before a cutout to achieve 50 miles an hour versus gradually accelerating to 50 miles an hour? I hope that made sense. So these are just a few points I've put together to help you achieve better acceleration on your high performance machines. Now, I don't recommend this for beginner wheels in a competitive setting, only because in some cases, lower tier wheels are not meant for hard torquing, braking, and other overtaxing maneuvering. So there you have it, guys. This is my 3 points on how to better and properly accelerate your Yeuk, or your EUC as many of you like to call it. Now let me just add this one more thing here. Like I said, there are lots of other things that you can adjust, but these are just some of my favorites and things I've done consistently to make sure I have the best setting possible to accelerate the machine. Now, the EMT Electric Games has just concluded, and I happened to watch some of it. And for the most part, a lot of the guys, a lot of the racers did fantastic. They did a fantastic job accelerating their machines off the line. With the exception, there were some situations, for example, with Mario. He won one of the races. I believe that was one of the heats, but he did fall off in one of the races. And I could imagine it's probably because he was nervous, because he is a very skilled rider. But that's another thing. Confidence not only in your wheel, but in yourself, okay? So you have to have confidence in yourself. I'll give you an example. With me at the Apple Valley Speedway, for example, when I saw Show in front of me, Show is a really good rider. And not only is he a good rider, he has this aura about him, right? And the aura comes from the fact that we've seen so many of his videos where he pushes wheels to its max. And he's a light dude. So not only is he great at pushing wheels in a straight line, he's really good at racing in a circuit. So that means he knows how to brake, he knows how to accelerate, he knows how to corner, he knows everything about his wheel. And not only that, a lot of things were going in my mind too, like he's coming from Alien Rides. Alien Rides has usually, they don't just get the stock wheel and ride that wheel. They optimize it. They put better suspension, better batteries, better pedals, etc., etc. I know for Show, for example, I believe at that Apple Valley race, he had actually removed, or not removed, but I think he had, I forgot what it's called, but basically he took out the suspension or made it in a way that, you know, it doesn't affect his cornering or riding abilities. So all of that going through my mind, and I have the MSP high speed, which I know is capable of competing, probably not at the best optimum level that I would like at the time, but my mind was going so many places. And one of the things that my mentor at the time, Zen Lee, was trying to get into my head, he was telling all of us, listen, if you get adrenaline, you need to calm down. Calm yourself down, because adrenaline is never a good thing. And I completely forgot. I saw Show, and I didn't even think of Roger. I thought of Show. I know Roger was no match. Roger was not a match for me. I'm sorry, but maybe he was, but in my mind, he wasn't. It was Show. I was concerned about Show. And everything went out the window. You know, all of my training went out the window. I basically lost confidence in myself because I was overconfident. Okay, so being overconfident is in a way losing confidence in yourself, because what you're doing is you're putting aside everything that you were taught, right, for that feeling of being great. And that's what I did. I completely ignored how great a rider I was and focused more on how greater a rider Show is, and tried to mask that, you know, feeling that I have at the very moment, and just eliminated all of the training. And so when the race started, I had a great takeoff. The issue is I didn't take into consideration what the limits of my particular wheel was. Yes, I had a battery that I wasn't used to, but this was the same battery I did a great time on, which got me in the same category with Show and Roger. So I should have taken my time. I should have relaxed. You know, I should have done all these things, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. And one of the riders at the race with Amped, one of the things he stated that really got me was, he said, coming up to the race, you get scared. You're nervous. All these emotions are going in, right? You have all these emotions going in, but the moment you start the race, everything changes. All of these butterflies, the nervousness, the doubt is gone because you started the race and it's all over. It's do or die. That's what I want to say regarding confidence. You don't want to allow someone else steer your confidence away from you, and I think that's probably what happened with Mario when he saw Law was there, and I think another guy was there in his heat. And I think he just lost confidence and he lost focus. Maybe not so much confidence, but he definitely lost focus. And you know, that is definitely very important. Mounting your wheel see, we had a rolling start, so we didn't really have to worry about mounting the wheel. But in his case, it wasn't a rolling start, it was off the line. But either way, as a top rider, you need to be very confident in all of your, because he's done it before, you know. He's taken off pretty well in all his other races, but dude, it happens to the best of us. Things happen, and that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's easy to see, you know, a race versus being in the race. Seeing a race, being in the race, very different things. But if you have all these things I just mentioned marked off, the only thing that you have to master is yourself in the end. And for Mario, I think that right there was his I wouldn't say downfall, but that's what pretty much got in the way, in my opinion. We'll still have to talk to him if we can to see what it really was. But in the end, it was the confidence and loss of focus that caused him to crash like that. So at the end of the day, guys, this is my short spiel on how to accelerate your vehicle. Yeah, I hope this helped. Have a great day.